Since its independence in 1960, Nigeria has witnessed a tumultuous political landscape marked by both democratic and military rule. Let's take a look at the key leaders who have shaped the nation's destiny. Abubakar Tafawa Balewa from 1957 to 1960. Born on November 8, 1912 in Bauchi, Nigeria's first Prime Minister, Balewa excelled in his studies and eventually obtained a degree in education from the University of London. Balewa entered the political arena in the 1940s, joining the Northern People's Congress, the NPC, a prominent political party in northern Nigeria. In 1957, Balewa was appointed Prime Minister of Nigeria, a position that he held until the country's independence in 1960. As Prime Minister, he played a crucial role in negotiating Nigeria's independence and ensuring a peaceful transition to self-government. Balewa's government faced significant challenges, particularly in managing regional tensions between the North, West, and East. Despite limited resources, Balewa's administration made strides in promoting economic development. Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa was captured and subsequently killed. His body was later found in a shallow grave. The coup marked a significant turning point in Nigerian history, leading to a period of military rule that would last for several decades. Nnamdi Azikiwe, 1960 to 1966. Born on November 16, 1904 in Zungeru, Niger State, Azikiwe's early life was marked by poverty and hardship. With the support of a scholarship, Azikiwe traveled to the United States to pursue his education at Starr College in West Virginia and Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. In 1944, Azikiwe founded the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, NCNC, a political party that would play a crucial role in Nigeria's struggle for independence. He was elected Premier of the Eastern region in 1954. In 1960, Nigeria achieved independence and Azikiwe was elected as the country's first president. His role was largely ceremonial while Abubakar Tafawa Balewa held executive power. Azikiwe is widely regarded as the father of Nigerian nationalism. After the January 15, 1966 coup, Azikiwe, as the former president, was stripped of his official duties and placed under house arrest. He was later allowed to travel abroad, where he continued to advocate for Nigerian unity and democracy. Azikiwe later returned to Nigeria and attempted to re-enter politics, but he was unsuccessful in his bid for the presidency in 1979 and 1983. He ultimately retired from politics in 1983 and passed away in 1996. Johnson Agui Ironsi, January 1966 to June 1966. Born in Umuahia, Abia State on March 17, 1924, Ironsi was a career military officer. Following the successful coup d'etat that ousted the civilian government, Ironsi was appointed as the head of state. His appointment was seen as a temporary measure to stabilize the country and pave the way for a return to civilian rule. Ironsi's administration focused on unifying the country, which had been plagued by regional tensions. He abolished the federal system and implemented a unitary government, aiming to create a more cohesive nation. This decision was met with strong opposition from some regions. This led to growing resentment and a sense of marginalization among the Easterners. Ironsi's appointment as head of state was also met with resentment from some factions within the military. They were concerned that his Igbo ethnicity would lead to favoritism and discrimination. On July 29, 1966, a counter-coup led by northern military officer ousted Ironsi from power. He was subsequently captured and killed alongside his brother. Ironsi's tenure as head of state lasted only 6 months. His policies ultimately contributed to the outbreak of the Nigerian Civil War. Yakubu Gowon, 1966 to 1975. Born on October 19, 1934 in Pangshin, Plateau State, following the coup in January 1966, he was appointed Chief of Staff to the new leader, Major General Johnson Agui Ironsi. However, after a counter-coup in July 1966, Gowon emerged as the compromise head of the new government, tasked with navigating the complex political landscape of a divided nation. During his leadership, Gowon sought to address the ethnic tensions that threatened Nigeria's unity. In a decisive move on May 27, 1967, he declared a state of emergency and reorganized the country's 4 regions into 12 states, aiming to reduce ethnic strife. However, this action prompted the eastern region to declare independence as Biafra, leading to a brutal civil war that began in July 1967. The Nigerian Civil War concluded with the government's victory in January 1970, and Gowon played a significant role in the reconciliation process that followed. By the mid-1970s, he was also involved in the establishment of the Economic Community of West African States, the ECOWAS, promoting regional cooperation and stability. Gowon's presidency came to an abrupt end on July 29, 1975, when he was ousted from power while attending an Organization of African Union summit in Uganda. Following his removal, he was exiled to Great Britain and stripped of his military rank due to allegations of involvement in the assassination of his successor, Brigadier General Murtala Muhammad, in 1976. However, he was pardoned by President Shehu Shagari in 1981, and his military rank was restored by President Ibrahim Babangida in 1987. In 1983, Gowon became a professor of political science at the University of Jos and emerged as an elder statesman in Nigerian politics. Murtala Muhammad, 1975 to 1976. Born in Kano on November 8, 1938, his military career began in the 1950s. The Nigerian Civil War was a defining moment in Murtala Muhammad's life. His leadership during the conflict earned him the respect of his peers and the admiration of the nation. His role in the Federal Forces' victory solidified his status as a military hero. In July 29, 1975, Murtala Muhammad led a successful coup d'etat. The bloodless coup, which took place when a faction of junior armed forces officers overthrew General Yakubu Gowon, saw Murtala announce that he would relinquish power to civilian rule by 1979. Murtala Muhammad's short time in power was marked by a series of bold reforms. He implemented measures to combat corruption, improve the economy, and address the nation's social problems. Tragically, Murtala Muhammad's tenure as head of state was cut short by a brutal assassination in February 13, 1976, in a failed coup d'etat barely 7 months after taking power. He was succeeded by his second-in-command, Olusegun Obasanjo, as head of state, who in turn led the Nigerian transition to democracy with the Second Nigerian Republic. His death sent shockwaves through the nation, and he was mourned as a lost leader with a bright future. Olusegun Obasanjo, 1976 to 1979. Born in Abeokuta, Ogun State on March 5, 1937, he joined the Nigerian Army in 1958 and specialized in engineering, and he rose to the rank of major. In the late 1960s, he played a senior role in combating Biafran separatists during the Nigerian Civil War, accepting their surrender in 1970. In 1975, a military coup established a junta with Obasanjo as part of its ruling trio, with Theophilus Danjuma and Murtala Muhammad as the triumvirate's leader. After Murtala Muhammad was assassinated, the following year, the Supreme Military Council appointed Obasanjo his deputy as head of state, who continued Murtala's policies. During the 3 years he headed the government, Obasanjo emerged as an important African statesman and established ties with the United States. Obasanjo followed his predecessor's timetable for a return to civilian rule and did not run for president when elections were held in 1979. He oversaw the transition to civilian rule in 1979, handing power to a democratically elected government. Shehu Shagari, 1979 to 1983. Shehu Shagari was born on February 25, 1925 in Ringim, Jigawa State. As one of the few northerners to show an interest in national politics, he ran for office in 1954 and was elected to the Federal House of Representatives. Thereafter, he held several posts and was a member of every administration after Nigeria's independence in 1960. After a military coup in 1966 ended civilian government, he retired to his hometown. General Yakubu Gowon appointed him Federal Commissioner for Economic Development in 1971, a position that he took over from Chief Obafemi Awolowo. He faced Awolowo in 1979 and narrowly defeated him in presidential elections after the military government led by Olusegun Obasanjo allowed a return to civilian rule. Nigeria was badly shaken by the international economic crisis of the early 1980s. Shagari took several steps to try to strengthen the economy, cutting the budget, calling the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and expelling 2 million non-citizens, mostly Nigerians, in 1983. He won the contested presidential election in 1983, but on December 31st, 1983, a military coup led by Major General Muhammadu Buhari toppled the government and Shagari was arrested. Shagari was cleared of personal corruption charges and released from detention in 1986, but was banned from participating in Nigerian politics for life. Despite his exile, Shagari remained a respected figure in Nigerian politics. He died December 28, 2018. Muhammadu Buhari, 1983 to 1985. Born on December 17, 1942 in Daura, Katsina State. Although civilian government had returned to Nigeria in 1979 with the election of Shehu Shagari, dissatisfaction with dismal economic conditions and what the military perceived as corrupt politicians had led to another military coup on December 31st, 1983, and Buhari was chosen unanimously to be the new head of state. Many of the economic problems that had existed under the Shagari administration also plagued the Buhari regime, and Buhari instituted stern measures. He took a tough stance on corruption. During his tenure, hundreds of politicians and business officials were tried and convicted or awaited trial on corruption-related charges. His regime launched the War Against Indiscipline, a program which sought to promote positive values in Nigerian society. In an effort to stop dissent against his policies, Buhari instituted restrictions on the press, political freedoms, and trade unionists. By August 27, 1985, Major General Ibrahim Babangida took control of the government. Buhari was detained in Benin City but was released at the end of 1988. Ibrahim Babangida, 1985 to 1993. Born on August 17, 1941 in Minna, Niger State, he began his military career and gained recognition for his bravery, particularly during the suppression of a coup attempt in 1976. After Murtala Muhammad became head of state in 1975, Babangida joined the Supreme Military Council and played a key role in the coup that replaced the civilian government of Shehu Shagari with Muhammadu Buhari's military regime. Dissatisfaction with Buhari's governance led Babangida to oust him in August 1985. Upon taking power, he implemented reforms that reduced government control over the press and released political detainees. He announced plans for a transition to civilian rule by 1990, later extending the timeline to 1992, while imposing restrictions on political candidates and allowing only two political parties, the National Republican Convention and the Social Democratic Party, the SDP, to participate in the elections. Babangida's administration faced challenges, including an attempt coup in 1990, which was quickly suppressed. Amid concerns about his government's direction, he suspended Nigeria's membership in the Islamic Conference Organization. His government also completed the long-planned transfer of the federal capital from Lagos to Abuja in 1991. The anticipated return to the civilian rule culminated in a presidential election in 1993, where initial results indicated that SDP candidate Moshood Abiola was the likely winner. However, Babangida controversially annulled the elections before the official results were announced, leading to civil unrest. In response, he transferred power to an interim civilian panel led by Ernest Shonekan and stepped down from the government. Sani Abacha, 1993 to 1998. Born September 20, 1943 in Kano, a military man that rose through the ranks to become a brigadier general. Abacha played a key role in the overthrow of President Shehu Shagari in 1983 and later assisted Ibrahim Babangida in taking power, with Abacha as second in command. After Babangida annulled the 1993 election won by Moshood Abiola, Abacha quickly seized control and established a repressive regime. Although Abacha promised a return to democracy, he banned political activities, controlled the press, suppressed dissent while supporting ECOWAS efforts in Liberia and Sierra Leone, and assembled a personal security force of some 3,000 men. Abacha's death in 1998 paved the way for a return to democracy in Nigeria. His successor, Abdulsalam Abubakar, oversaw the transition to an elected civilian government in 1999. During Abacha's rule, vocal critics like Olusegun Obasanjo were in prison for alleged coup attempts. Obasanjo was released after Abacha's death. Abdulsalam Abubakar, 1998 to 1999. Born June 13, 1942 in Minna, Niger State, hailing from the middle belt of the country, Abdulsalam joined the army in 1975. He commanded Nigeria's contingent of United Nations peacekeeping troops in Lebanon in 1981. By the late 1980s, he was a senior officer and in 1993 was named Defense Chief of Staff by General Sani Abacha, who became Nigeria's military ruler in that year. Following the sudden death of Abacha in June 1998, Abdulsalami was sworn in as Nigeria's head of state. He promised a return to civilian government and kept his promise. Although Abubakar dissolved the political parties that Abacha had established, he did establish a plan for multi-party elections, and he set May 29, 1999 as the swearing-in date for the new civilian president. Presidential elections were held in January 1999, and Abubakar handed the government over to the winner, Obasanjo, on the promised date. He retired from the military and returned home to Minna. Olusegun Obasanjo, 1999 to 2007. Obasanjo announced his intention to run for president as the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. He was declared the winner of the 1999 election with some 63% of the vote and became Nigeria's first civilian leader in 15 years. He was elected to a second term in April 2003, winning more than 60% of the votes cast. He served 2 terms and is credited with stabilizing the country and promoting economic growth. In 2006, Obasanjo came under domestic and international criticism for attempting to amend the constitution to allow him to stand for a 3rd term as president. The proposed amendment was rejected by the Senate later that year. Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, 2007 to 2010. Born on August 16, 1951 in Katsina, he was the first elected civilian head of state to transfer power to another, marking a significant moment in the country's history. Yar'Adua had a background in education and business before entering politics, where he focused on state politics and served as governor of Katsina State. In 2007, Yar'Adua was selected as the People's Democratic Party, the PDP candidate for the presidential election and won with a decisive victory, despite allegations of election irregularities. He faced challenges such as maintaining development programs, peace in the Niger Delta, and fighting corruption. Yar'Adua's health issue became a major concern in 2009 when he traveled to Saudi Arabia for medical treatment, leading to calls for him to transfer power to the Vice President Goodluck Jonathan. The National Assembly eventually voted for Jonathan to assume full power as acting president, while Yar'Adua continued to recover. However, Yar'Adua's health never fully improved, and he passed away in May 2010, with Jonathan succeeding him as president. Goodluck Jonathan, 2010 to 2015. Born November 20th, 1957 in Otoeke, Bayelsa State, his political career began in the late 1990s with the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, eventually leading to his election as deputy governor of Bayelsa State in 1999. He became governor in 2005 and was later selected as the vice presidential running mate for the PDP in 2007. Early 2010, he assumed the role of acting president due to Yar'Adua's extended absence. Following Yar'Adua's death in May 2010, Jonathan's first term as president was marked by the insurgency led by Boko Haram in the northeast. Jonathan won the presidential election in April 2011 with about 59% of the vote, securing an outright victory. His presidency was characterized by efforts to address security challenges, promote economic development, and tackle corruption. Jonathan was once again elected to be the PDP candidate for the next presidential election, scheduled for 2015. His strongest challenger was former military head of state Muhammadu Buhari, who was the flag bearer of the All Progressive Congress, the APC. The election held on March 28, 2015, Buhari emerged winner and Jonathan conceded. It marked the first time in Nigeria's history that an incumbent had been defeated Muhammadu Buhari, 2015 to 2023. He ran for president in 2003, 2007 and 2011, but was defeated each time by the candidates from the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. In 2015, he ran as the candidate for the All Progressive Congress, the APC, and won the presidential election, defeating the incumbent Goodluck Jonathan. His administration faced economic challenges, with Nigeria falling into a recession in 2016 due to the decline in revenue from oil sales. By 2018, there was some economic recovery, but many Nigerians still lived in extreme poverty. The fight against Boko Haram continued, with the group regaining strength and escalating attacks. Buhari's health became a concern during his presidency. Despite the speculation, he ran for re-election in 2019 and won with 56% of the vote, defeating over 70 challengers. Despite the challenges, Buhari's re-election in 2019 solidified his position as the leader of Nigeria until 2023. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, 2023 to date. Born on March 29, 1952 in Lagos, Tinubu, an accountant and politician, was elected to the Lagos West Senate seat in 1992 and later became governor of Lagos State, where he implemented financial reforms and public transportation projects. Tinubu was known for his role as a kingmaker in Nigerian politics, supporting candidates and forming the All Progressive Congress, the APC, in 2013. He supported Muhammadu Buhari's successful presidential campaigns in 2015 and 2019. In 2023, Tinubu ran for president as the APC candidate, focusing his campaign on addressing insecurity, economic issues, and infrastructure improvements. He won the election with almost 37% of the votes. Tinubu was sworn in as president on May 29, 2023. Tinubu's presidency faced immediate challenges with his removal of fuel subsidy, electricity tariff hike, and the unification of the Naira, which affected the cost of living of Nigerians. August 1st to 10th saw a nationwide protest against his administration's policies. Bola Tinubu's administration started on a challenging note, but local and international bodies continue to observe the progress. These are Nigerian leaders who have shaped Nigeria's history. Their legacies continue to influence the country's political landscape today. Happy Independence, Nigeria.